Thank you for being here. If this is your first time here with me, I am Desiree B. Stevens. This is Let's Have the Conversation, and I pathologize the systems of whiteness. Ding. Want a little smile thing right there. Mm. Oh, that's good. That's good. I did not have coffee, and my friend Kia dropped off coffee, and I'm so thankful. Good morning, Jessica. Okay, so again, if this is your first time here or you are back, I thank you, by the way. Good morning, Laura. And today, what we're going to do is talk about food as a point of control, right? The truth about SNAP, racism, and community survival. Yeah, yeah, I see that Melissa is sharing her precipitation. And here's what I know. It's going to be a switch over, right? Like all of those warm October 70-degree days are gone. It is absolutely going to be cold now. So we definitely have to prepare for that. So if you are here for the first time or you are coming back, what I do on Mondays is it's an open live. The replay is open. It is not paywalled. Wednesday and Fridays replays are paywalled for paid subscribers. And right now, up until the 31st of October, you can get 31% off for the year. I suggest you do that. It's very well worth it. So what we do is we have 3 talking points, 3 reframes, and 3 reflection prompts. So we could just kind of think about situations differently or from an angle that we have not been allowed the time, space, critical thinking skills, and or proximity to think about. These are the things that we do here. So good morning. Let's get into it. When food becomes control, the truth about SNAP, racism, and community survival. Over the weekend, things are so timely. I'm loving this. Over the weekend, I was like, you know what? I opened up a nonprofit for exactly this reason. Well, the intent of the nonprofit was to offer mutual aid, right? I've been doing mutual aid for years. Hey, it's a barn raising. People will cash out, people will Venmo me, myself, and I will disseminate it. Or, I just share somebody else's yada, yada, yada. And I firmly believe that mutual aid is the answer, right? When my eldest child was young, even with our own food, right? Like I used to call it from our table to yours, we would make additional food and then put it in boxes and just go out and hand it out. Direct giving is always going to be immediate. Then I started thinking and I was like, I want to expand the Healing Homestead because the Healing Homestead has been my house, my backyard, my space. And I would like to appeal to larger people. So I'm like, okay, I want to raise money for that. But what the joy about that is it kind of put mutual aid in a different shift. When you're asking people for regular, continuous donations and asking people for larger donations, then they also get a tax write-off, right? So it felt reciprocal to me. It was a way to break the idea of charity or helping the poor and just recognizing it as redistributing care, right? If you happen to have more money, then you are able to do more things, give more, et cetera, et cetera. And that just redistributes food, power, resources, whatever that redistribution looks like. So over this weekend, I was like, you know what? People are going to not have SNAP benefits, and that's crazy. So I wrote about it and I'm talking about it because the idea, we've got to get away from the idea of the poor are disposable. I also want us to get into who the hell do you think the poor are? I am the poor. Like, there is a misconception, right? America is a business. It is consistently um selling us something. It's right. Like it has to because it's a business. So it's always selling. So it will give us an enemy. It will give us this idea. It will tell us the illegal aliens. It will tell you the welfare queens. It will tell you, you know, it's just going to blame somebody, right? Instead of recognizing that this is not moral failures, this is systemic intent, right? Like in order for capitalism to work, there has to be a disposable level of people, right? Because this very specific economy, the United States of America economy, is a slave economy. Like, you guys just want to, because you want to brush away enslavement, and we're not going to talk about that. We've moved so far away. Then you're not realizing the connection of how that impacts you, right? The thing with white body people is too often they feel like systemic racism enslavement, etc., had nothing to do with them because they didn't partake, their family were poor, all of these things. And what you're not understanding is a few things, is that whiteness is a system that is non-consensual. So whether you were owning people or you were, casting the iron that shackled people, driving the boat, like becoming the police officers, we all participated in it because it is an economy. The same way I am sitting on an iPhone with a MacBook, I am participating in global enslavement of people. There are children in the Congo in mines for the past few generations that are making this moment possible. Do I enslave children? No. Am I a part and partake of an economy that does? Yes. Am I responsible to do the least amount of harm that I can in a system that I did not ask to be brought into? Also, yes. See how that works? Welcome to my world. Lisa says the refuge, garbage, poor people of the UK sent here before the Puritan invasion. Right. All of those things, right? America is a prison colony, no different than Australia was. But so let's get into that. When you start recognizing that we are all connected, right? Like this work of interconnection and how systems have come together and we are a part of them, whether we want to or not, you start recognizing, wow, all of these things impact me. So when you go and you begin an economy with enslavement, which means absolute free labor at the level of disposability that your brain can't even understand, at the point where there were breeding farms to breed people, to make more workers, because that is what we are. When we are born into an economy such as that, you are breeding workers for capitalism. You are not a fucking capitalist. You are surviving capitalism. There are levels to this. And none of us, most likely here, are capitalists. We are surviving capitalism. Some people are doing it better than others. Some are not. But here's one thing that's guaranteed. There has to be an underclass, and an underclass to the point that we don't care if they die. An underclass to the point that when we are okay recognizing that homeless people will freeze in the streets, right? We are okay with realizing that people will just not eat and die of starvation here in the greatest country in the world. That is what we are doing because that is what we were given. We were okay with the disposability of enslaved Africans. We were okay with the separation of Black people. We were okay with putting Irish immigrant into the coals and letting them die that coal miner's death. We were okay with allowing Chinese people to come over here and still exclude them whilst they helped build railroads. That has all been the biggest thing. It has led up to this very moment. And that brings us to our conversation today. Yes, I always call it an MLM. I'm like, whiteness is a pyramid scheme. It's like, nobody's ever going to get into the top. You guys understand that for like Lululemon, Avon, all of those things, you're never going to be the owner. Ever, ever, ever. So that is where we are. So when you have that historical reckoning, like, oh my God, it is not to leave you, I don't want to lead you into collapse. I want you to be led into awareness, right? This is not new, right? So the panic that's happening, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What happened? How did we get here? Well, we've been telling you, this is how we get here. So now that we are here, I assure you, it is time to listen to the people that have survived this for generations with awareness, with knowing that it was going to get here, with saying that it was going to get here. So now we're going to get into it. So grab your cups, your water, your coffee, your hot drink. Take a deep breath, release, sink into your body, and get ready. I'm going to have more coffee. I love it. Good morning, Heather. All right. So I want you to recognize that this conversation, this is not about panic. We're not panicking, right? It is simply about preparation and not in the overt ways of preppers and doomsday people, just in ways of preparation as a community, right? How could we hold each other during this moment, during these times that are coming? Because it's not going to get easier. Understand that it is my belief and many others that SNAP will not be returning. Like that is the goal. And that is what we're going to be talking about because this has been in the running pretty much since always. But since people get deeply uncomfortable with talking about enslavement and want us to move past it and our bodies don't let us settle into that truth, we're going to go to Reaganomics. Let's just go to the 80s. Let's keep it cute. Let me honor your right to comfort. We can dig deeper later, but let's just go to the 80s and Reaganomics and how that went, right? So here, one, talking point. SNAP cuts are not administrative, they're strategic. This isn't a delay, it's the continuation of Clinton's welfare reform. Turning food into a conditional reward instead of a human right. I will be putting more things into the replay of this. If you do not know what Clinton's reform was, how it impacted um, the welfare system as we see it today. Good morning, Stephanie. So I want you to think about it's not about efficiency, right? Like when that idea of welfare reform working for these benefits, it gave an idea that was bred off of the welfare queen. Maybe I should start with the welfare queen. But it gave an idea that let's it gave an idea that people were not working, right? Like that we're not working, they were just lounging, living it up on their welfare, getting all of this money, these broken Black homes, getting all of this money uh, to sit at home, drive nice cars, and eat food and do nothing, which gave people this separation. One, it allowed them their racism to flourish, enjoy, and believe the tropes about Black women being salacious, being Jezebel, about broken Black homes from the 70s, about Black men not being active fathers or, parenting, the big, that Black root trope, all of those things fed into it. But again, I don't want to make you too uncomfortable. I'm lying. I'm going to make you uncomfortable. All of those tropes about Black people, like allowed welfare reform and Reaganomics and that trickle down economy to impact people, right? Then you get the war on drugs, where they are literally running drugs into the neighborhood, putting it into the hands of Black people to absolutely make money in the 90s. And you just have a recipe for disenfranchisement that is absolutely held in a lovely container of anti-Blackness and racism. It always comes down to racism because racism will stop your liberation every single time. So when that welfare reform came up in the 90s, the idea was like, you need to go to work. You need to work for your money. Again, as if teachers, veterans, foster parents who have the means, but their child that they are fostering has their own budget. So police officers, master sergeants in the military, at least in the Air Force, families working poor. This was not the 50s, right? That also, racism stopped that. I talk about that with the move to suburbia, white flight, and the start of that. But anyway, there was no way to live during the 90s without those sort of things, right? Like with these help. But when you start putting the crack epidemic, say no to drugs, the crime bill, you're coming off of Reaganomics and the welfare queen leaving the 70s with the whole broken Black home troop, it's very easy to sell you 30 years later, 2 generations in, really 10, but we're not going to do enslavement. But at least 2 generations in, that Black people are lazy, don't work, live off the government. Fast forward 2 more generations later, it's the illegals. It's always going to be somebody. Before it was that, it was, like they made white poor people too proud to ask for help because they make you want to believe that you can move up in the hierarchies of whiteness simply based on the color of your skin. Because what? Say it with me slow. Racism stops your liberation every time. Good job. Lisa says, hard for Black men to be home with family when they are incarcerated. That too, but also Black men are the most active fathers, father group. Like, the things that they put through. I think it's something like, like Black men prefer white women, this and other thing. 80% of Black people that are Black men that are married to Black women. So it's just not true. My point is none of it is true, but racism is an easy sell. So, and it makes people separate themselves instead of coming together in community and recognizing economically, we're all fucked up. Like it doesn't, the only color that matters at the top of that MLM is green. Okay. And they'll just sell you whatever they need to in order to distract you and separate you. But green is the only color that matters in a slave economy. Okay. Good job. So the reframe I want you to think about this is that this is not about efficiency. Good morning, Melissa. It's about control. A hungry population is easier to discipline. You can't think about nothing. You ever been at work and you're just like, you're in a meeting or something, you're like, I'm hungry. Like, I can't, I hear the words, the mouth is moving, but I'm hungry. I can't think about this right now because your body, we live in our bodies, and your body is like, we are starving, we are hungry. Hurry up, something is happening. I'm about to collapse. And our bodies are such beautiful organs and organisms and machines, if you will, that will protect us from death. That is its goal. Like, oh, you're dying, and there's something that you could do about that. Please drink some water. Please take a nap. Please eat some food. When you're hungry, you can't think about anything. And please believe that nothing breeds violence like poverty. That's just that simple. I can't think about anything if I need to eat. And I promise you, I'm going to be super stressed out if my kids can't eat. And I'm going to find a way for my children to eat. Hell or high water, right? That is just a natural survival instinct. That is lizard brain. That is the whole energy of, that white culture. Kill or be killed, dog eat dog world, all of those colloquialisms, all of those thought terminating cliches that come up are absolutely from that lizard brain of survival. Right. So when you have people that are hungry, concerned, pillar to post living, robbing Peter to pay Paul, they do not have time to revolt. It is a privilege, right? Think about how our generation or the boomer generation, I'm Gen X, but boomer light, thinks about mental health. Right? It's like, oh, I didn't have the time to be depressed. Well, I fucking hate that for you, Susan. Like, I have a therapist. I don't know what to tell you. I'm so sorry that you grew up in a society that didn't give a fuck that you did not enjoy life, that you could not get up to make a bed, that you needed uppers and downers to fucking function, that you were walking around with mommy little helpers. I'm so sorry, Susan. I hope that you want a better world instead of bashing those that have realized that it's important. Same thing goes with food. Same thing goes with food security. These rising rent costs, can't 3, 5 times the rent. I need 3, 4, 5 months rent. All of these things. I cannot afford the apartment that I afforded when I was 19. Today, I'm 46, college educated and successful. I could not go back to my apartment that I was in at 19. A 1 bedroom, 600 square foot, walk up in the Bronx with no elevator while I was doing hair, getting food stamps, and in college. I couldn't afford that apartment today. That's an insane amount of inflation. So thinking about it from that point is like they want to sell you this idea of efficiency, right? Like you see all the gun ho, yeah, cut out the money, don't give it to the illegals. Friend, you need a whole social security number in order to get government benefits in this country. The way they play with your intelligence is crazy. Like you need a social security number to get benefits. You cannot be talking about the undocumented folks are out here stealing American benefits, stealing your jobs, and also lazy. Systems of whiteness will always cause you cognitive dissonance. None of it, the math is not mathing. So again, this is not about efficiency, it's about control. A hungry population is easier to discipline. So I want you to think about this, right? Like what happens is when the government controls your food, it controls your time, your energy, your nervous system, and your ability to rest, organize, or resist. What's coming down the pipeline? What's next should be your question. But you can't think about what's next when you can't think about what's happening right now, when you're hungry right now, when in 5 more days, you don't know if you're going to get help. right now. And even if it's not you, you actually are a human in touch with your humanity. You care about other people. I was having dinner last night, and I love the fact that the nonprofit sent out six grocery boxes, because six families are eating the way I'm eating. Mia says you don't exist to the system without that social security number. Correct. You know why? It's an account number that they're trading. Like, stop playing. Your birth certificate is a bond. Your social security number is a fucking account number that they are trading on the stock market. Welcome back to the slave economy. The first thing on Wall Street were enslaved Africans. The first property to be insured and people to make money off of was enslaved Africans. Oh, you got 30 people coming over from Africa? We love that. Let's insure the lot of them. 15 of them died. Doesn't matter. You still got paid. Nothing has changed, friends. Nothing has changed. But they done slapped some equality, gave you some integration, and you're like, oh my God, look at the progress. Nothing systemically has changed. They allow you, the illusion of choice is amazing because they allow you to believe you can get married, you could live wherever you want. Look at all of these things changing. Not a damn thing has changed. So, yeah, you do not exist because your social security number tells them everything, right? Your social security number is broken down in demographics. Where were you born? What is your race? Right? All of these things come into that social security number and it tells them, okay, based on these demographics, this is simple business metrics. Based on these demographics, how much labor can I get out of this person? Oh, they were born poor because poverty is generational like wealth. Oh, so they were born poor. They live in this area. They were born there. They're this race. Okay, so we could probably get about 50 good years out of them. Okay, so this is here. There goes that bond. We're trading you. And this is, oh shit, you became disabled. Now you're a liability to the business. That is why they don't like to pay disabled veterans. That is why they don't give a shit after people can no longer serve them. You are a liability to the business. So being on benefits, government aid, subsidies, you are a liability because this economy was based on free labor. So anything that they have to pay above that is an L for them. That is a loss. If I start a business, I could be insanely wealthy, right? If I had a cleaning company for 20 years, imagine if I could get a fleet of 20 people cleaning people's houses and not pay them. Amass wealth quickly. And then imagine all of a sudden laws change and I got to pay them. Do you think I'm going to pay them $20, $30? No, I wasn't paying them shit last week. I don't want to pay anything because that's taking from me now, right? So fine, I'll pay them $2. Welcome to your field hands. We'll pay them and make them feel better because they have white skin and you're getting something. Meanwhile, the owner of the plantation is making $20. See how the economy hasn't changed? It's a plantation economy, fellas. Guys, folks, friends, thems, days. Welcome to the plantation economy. You are on a plantation. The entire United States of America is a plantation and it runs as a business. And we are liabilities to the business when we revolt, resist, or depend on needing assistance. They don't give a shit that you are not making it. Do something else about it. They don't care. That's not their thing. This is the completion of that reform. Trickle down economics, welfare reform, eradication. That's what's coming down the pipeline. So how are you preparing for that? Anyhow, take a breath because that was intense, right? Good morning, Jan. Hi, Martinique. Take another sip of coffee. I didn't want to come and yell at you guys today. I want you to take care of yourself. Jennifer said the entire U.S. is a plantation. That hit hard. Because it is. But it is convinced white people use free. And you are just living out your ancestors' serfdom. Most white-bodied Americans here did not come from the aristocratic anything. You came from serfs. You came from criminals. Like, and you came from violent, puritanical murderers. Right? Now, there is truth in the fact that those people were escaping religious persecution. And it's because their persecution was necessary, because their violence was so horrific. And they brought it here. So most white bodied people are descendants of violent, murderous, puritanical people, right? That's your WASP culture who thinks that, they're that middle class America. Serfs, and people fleeing immigrant situations, violence, war torn countries, and famine that's forced from colonization. That's the crazy part, friends. I don't understand. This is why I ask, who were you before you were white? Touch that. Because then you would recognize that you're just living out your indentured servitude of your ancestors, and they're mad. They're mad that you have not figured it out. This is no different. Indentured servitude was the same. The whole Irish were slaves myth. Indentured servitude said, you have to work for me for a certain amount of years and we'll pay you something, right? You're working off your debt and then you could be free. Please tell me how that fucking is different than work until you retire. And you're going to pay off your debt, because they have everything costs. My house costs, I have house taxes, I have school taxes, I have property taxes, I pay taxes at the fucking grocery store, I pay taxes on clothes. It's a plantation. It's a plantation. And that plantation economy has not changed, friends. I need us to really sit with that truth because white-bodied people are living the lives of their ancestors that they forgot. And you guys are living out serfdom. You guys are living out indentured servitude and cheering it on as long as those fucking illegals and those Negroes don't get nothing. You're not getting anything. What are you getting out of this? Where the fuck is your win? Coal mining, large scale farming, all of it, serfdom, basically. Absolutely, right? So that is when we're talking about this, when most white people come to this arena, they are coming with this anti-racism journey, and your guys are coming with this saviorism, and I am here. I'm going to do good. I'm going to learn and I'm going to dismantle racism. I am an anti-racist. I'm an ally. And I love that. But until you realize how you're impacted by this shithole country and its system, you can never be in solidarity. And solidarity is what it's going to take to get to the other side of this because we're watching it collapse, which is a beautiful thing. This is that late stage capitalism. I said this before during the 100 Days of Community. This is death grabbing on for its last little bit. Like, we got to hold on. But we could see the culture is shifting. We could see socially the culture is shifting. We could see it in things like Bad Bunny doing the NFL. We see it in things with our children being free, with their expressions being non-binary and like living together communally. We see it with people's love style becoming more expansive. Socially, we are seeing the change and systemically it is fucking holding on with its grips of death. And that's okay. Because as long as we are coming together socially, as long as we are doing the work of coming into solidarity, dismantling, doing anti-oppression work, you are going to 100% dismantle it systemically. So focus on that. Lisa says 7 times great-grandpa was an indentured servant shipped to Virginia. And look at you. 7 generations later, still an indentured servant. Right? So when white-bodied people come to this work and I ask you, who were you before you were white? And I tell you, there are no good white people. This is what I'm talking about. A system that is built in extraction and exploitation and uses your white body to do it and represent it will never allow you to be good. Let it go. Dismantle it. Release that construct. It's new. It started in the 1600s. It's not even real. That's how white-bodied people, I'm like, you're little small actors. Like on those census thing, put other, put other, and start writing your ethnic identity. You are what your mother is. Just go with that and keep it moving. There goes a simple little act. But this is the solidarity that is needed, is recognizing that, and people cheered, right? Serfs definitely cheered for the lower class. If you are doing bad, you want someone underneath you, right? Because then it makes you feel better. I keep telling you, right? Like if my foot is on somebody else's neck for me to step up, that doesn't make you taller. But it does give you that ease because every single white body person, when they see these horrific things that happen to us as Black people, get to take a breath and say, at least I'm not Black. And that right there stops your work because they're coming for you. 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 It will just hit us first and hardest, but we will survive because we're still here. See that? So now here's the reflection prompt. Where did you first learn that needing help was shameful and who benefited from you believing that? I want you to ask yourself that because that shame is built into colonial Christianity. That shame is handed to white people at birth. That shame is handed in those 15 pillars of supremacy culture, those individualistic versions of self, that idea of what happens in the house stays in the house. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Y'all couldn't even tell your own family members what you're going through. So the lack of community starts right there in that cis, hetero, Christian, white, patriarchal home. Tiffany says, yeah, we were raised not to ask for help. But I'm going to tell you what, you're about to find out how many white people take help. I bet you it's going to be white people that have all the lists of where pantries are, food banks. You know why they know? They're using them. There you go. Like, they're using them. They know. You guys are about to find out how much help white America actually needs and receives from the government and community programs, but can hide in plain sight because of the trope and the marketing of the American business model. Okay? So sit with that, take another sip. I love my coffee. Tiffany says it was looked at as weak to ask for help, and that is so fucked up. Correct. Because now, when we're talking about generational trauma, you are talking about people, because we're Gen X, you're talking about people, boomers, who were raised by people fleeing war-torn countries through colonization. At the same time, globally, so many countries were being destabilized for the expansion of the American business model. These are people, of course, they're not going to ask for help. They fucking left their country with a knapsack. Like, and they made it. And they don't understand why are you so weak that you can't. Right? This is their own trauma. This is the offering of humanity to those people. They saved foil. They fucking I used to undo foil and reuse it. Because this is their survival. You're talking about people that put their children on boats hoping to see them on the other side. You are talking about people. Do you know what boxcart kids are? You'd put your kid on a fucking boxcart train and just send them off. Hope they make it. You're talking about people that were putting their children in chimneys as chimney sweeps. Oh, you thought that was just a cute little Mary Poppins story. Those were real jobs for children. Of course. So when their life has been so rough, hard, struggling from serfdom, and that keeps on going and going, and it gets worse and worse. And then this idea of progress or better comes along. And so they're looking at your life and they're like, but you have it so easy. Look at all the things that you have such ease with. Why are you struggling when I did it with so little? Lisa says, in my early 20s, I applied for assistance, and the woman asked me if my parents knew I was there asking for help. Oh, yeah, they will continue, right? This is how whiteness polices whiteness, right? We always talk about, we know, you guys are top tier allies. So you know how whiteness polices blackness. How does whiteness police whiteness? Does your husband know? Do your parents know? Why can't your family help you? Did your husband lose his job? All up in your business. Okay, nosy Rosie. Mind your business and do your fucking job. Okay. Jessica says, my parents are Haitian and left after Papa Doc and came here with $30. They raised us to do anything to save face in public while we were starving at home. Right? It crosses all lines, ethnicities, cultures, religions, right? Because that top tier, colonial whiteness as a system gives you that shame. Figure it out. Do you know how many years of therapy I missed? Because, I grew up with Irish Catholic women and there's no fucking crying in baseball. You don't fucking do that. You don't go and tell people your problems. Now I tell the whole world everything. Because I realized that these people, they kept it to the vest. That's why they were called the silent generation. Most of us, our grandparents or some of our parents come from the silent, because you shut up. You suck it up, buttercup, and you do that. And we have to offer them the grace and humanity, recognize the things that were going on systemically, and see how the fuck they survive that. And know that we are a lineage of that. And how can we do this healthier? How can we shift that around? I will actually, let me write a note. Add the generational article. A couple years back, I wrote an article about all of the various generations and the systemic happenings going on around them in order to offer us grace. The generational article. To this replay. Okay. You guys are awesome. Okay. I've been telling you that as we come into the darker months, we're going to go deeper. We're going to go slower. If you notice, it's not as many articles. Our lives are going longer. And that's okay, because we're getting deeper and we're getting in. Let's take care of your body. All of these truths are coming up, right? And it's shocking to the system. And the more that we share, right, the more that we recognize that crossover of culture. And the culture is suppression. The culture is violent. The culture is isolating. And we need to remove those layers, right? Like lift that veil and come together in solidarity. Talking point 2. Now we're going to get into the welfare queen. So this comes directly from the welfare queen propaganda. The attack on welfare has always begins with anti-Black narratives. People will tolerate the suffering as long as they think it primarily harms Black families. Taylor says, psychiatrist kept my mom in checks. Coffee Cats and Dads. Yes, Lisa. I really should take on that moniker because it's really cool. Okay, so we kind of touched that already, so I don't need to harp on that, right? Like on how we have this plantation economy. This is an entire plantation, and anti-Blackness and racism will stop your liberation every time. People are okay when you have those tropes of that lazy, fat, Black woman with a bunch of kids hanging around her. Have y'all ever seen the picture of the welfare queen? It is so fucking ridiculous. Please do not respond with, "Oh my God, how could that be?" Stop fucking pretending to be shocked. All right. We're gonna stop that shit. Stop being shocked. Stop the shock and fucking awe. We no longer need that. We need actions. No more shock and awe. But the trope is absolutely ugly and horrible. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. And we see it coming up again today with AI, right? When we were talking about, like, you could see they are making TikTok videos and all these other sorts of videos with Black women sitting around loud, fat, yada, yada, yada. I need my EBT, talking fucking reckless and everything. Yeah, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, friends. Okay. See this. Child, look at me struggling. Like I become a boomer in front of this thing. Okay, there we go. I guess switch it around. Yes. You ever seen that? Look at that. With Democrats in power, I'll take 2 welfare queens at the Cadillac dealer. Yes, you can. The Dems. Do you see that? Does that not look familiar? Does that not feel familiar? This was the 80s. Fat Black women run into the Cadillac dealer to get 2 Cadillacs because of their $30 in food stamps. And the Democrats are just handing them the money. Friends, anti-Blackness and racism will stop your liberation every time, and I can't say that shit enough. Anti-Blackness and racism will stop your liberation every time. And I can't say that shit enough. And so that turns around and it puts the shame on Black families. I'm not going to get no help for years. I did not, besides the fucking whole, like, grandparents are immigrants and you better fucking figure this out. For years, I didn't want to take assistance. And I was like, wait, I actually need help. And eating is a human right. I actually need help. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go do that. And I was like, wow, what a nice burden that eased while I was transitioning, while I was disabled. And then you could come back off. And yes, are there people taking advantage of the system? Of course there are. Do I think that we should cut off the lot? Right? It is literally the cutting the baby in half, right? That is what this is, right? Go to that biblical story, right? Like the true mother would never sever her baby in half. Fuck it. Have the baby. But these people are ready to cut the baby in half because maybe some people are taking advantage. Do I think that there is definitely something I've shared with you guys before, that when I first came into political awareness, which means turning 18, I was absolutely a Republican because I grew up with Reaganomics and welfare queen tropes, right? So I believed in being fiscally conservative. That's the scapegoat of well-to-do Republicans, is I just want to be fiscally conservative. I just don't want my money going all of these unnecessary places. So that was my ideology. And when I then learned, like, no, one, that's not happening. Does there need to be some things? Yes. Should there be some stop holds and assistance in there, right? Like if you're getting certain benefits, could we offer some other ways? Are there pathways to home ownership through Section 8? Are there pathways to this and other thing? Yes, there could be. But you know what that never addresses? The fact that this is a fucking plantation economy. What it never ever does is put the onus on a system that creates the level of poverty that needs assistance. And that's when the fuck I woke up, right? That was my conversation. Of course, there needs to be these things. These people should not be on it 20, 30 years. You can't make a lifetime of it. Not only them, then their children are on it. And well, guess fucking what? Poverty is generational, just like wealth. And it's designed like that, folks. It is designed like that. And it took me way too long in my life to realize that it was designed like that. Coming from abject poverty, cheese lines, food stamps. It took me way too long to realize that. But that is how it's set up. It is intended for us to be so far removed and to believe that we are the exception to the rule. The rule is ruling. And we are just being ruled by that ruling class. Okay? Okay. So the reframe with that welfare queen propaganda is, this is not about individual morality. This is about racialized social control. Racialized social control. It's never not been. It's never not been, right? When you came over here and you have the Puritans coming over here and murdering the people of the land, the Indigenous, that's racial. Before they even got here, when they were doing it with the Irish, separating Catholics from Protestants, that's race. Race changes because it's a construct. Race was not always what we know it as today. But this has been perfected over thousands of years, friends. Right? Race, as we know it now, is a construct of the 1600s. It morphed from what it was over the pond. Super simple. Whites, non-whites. Race is a construct made for white people, a socioeconomic political stance that tells you who could vote and who can make money in this new world. That is what that construct was. White people and everybody else. And even in that, so you can understand how those hierarchies of whiteness that I talk about was built. I need you to know, especially for my patriarchy haters, white men couldn't even vote in this country unless they were wealthy. Got to get real fucking intersectional over here, okay? I'm gay. So think about it. The welfare queen was never real because who the hell is buying Cadillacs with food stamps? Who is buying Cadillac? You can't even fucking buy cars with food stamps. But we went for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Again, the way that people are going for the fucking illegal alien, undocumented persons, able to come over here, steal your jobs, get welfare, and be lazy, hapless users. The marketing is fucking amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Yes, Deidre, and who could own property. You can't even buy toilet paper with food stamps. You can't buy shit with food stamps but food. It's why it's called food stamps. But we went for it. I went for it too. I went for it too. Here's the crazy part. I went for it too when I was able to be of voting age with a non-Black mother on food stamps. Marketing is amazing. Isolation is intentional. The disconnect that supremacy culture offers and provides us forces those spaces. It forces the dissonance. It forces that disconnect for lack of solidarity and to not have community and to understand. But yes, you can't buy toilet paper, but apparently in the 80s, food stamps, you could buy Cadillacs. Two. Let's see. What was the price of a fucking Cadillac? I hate that because, the Cadillacs comes out of the 70s too, right? Like that whole big pimping, black exploitation, extravagant cars and that sort. How much were Cadillac? Got me a Cadillac in the 80s. 1980, the new Cadillac could cost $15,000. God damn. That's a lot of the money in the 80s. So they wanted you to believe that a person that most likely was working, and received supplemental, that's why it's no longer called food stamps, it's SNAP, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, to supplement the income that you ain't getting. So the government is not really supplementing the people. It's subsidizing corporations. Okay? Because corporations could just pay you what you're worth. And you would not need supplements from the government. So actually, the government is not helping the people. It's subsidizing corporations, underpaying you, and stealing your wages. That's my reframe. Okay? There you go. So, the welfare queen was never real. Yes, you like that, Tiff? I just came up with that. I swear to God, that wasn't even my reframe. I just was like, oh, yeah, no, that's actually what's happening. That is literally what's happening. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know why I didn't write that down as my reframe. But that's the reframe that we're going with. The government is actually not helping the people. They are subsidizing corporations that are underpaying you and stealing your wages. Reframe that. So again, this is not about individual morality. It's about racialized social control. The welfare queen was never real, but the policy violence born from that lie is. The government convinced the public that feeding children was somehow rewarding Black irresponsibility. The hapless fathers that are just out there making babies, even though that epigenetic trauma of Black men just out there fucking and breeding comes from the breeding farms of the plantations that they created. Again, we never get to dig deep enough into the traumas, into the makings of what happens to people that have not only been enslaved, but to the people that have enslaved others. We need to be talking more about those epigenetic traumas and how those manifestations come about, right? Like, what are the manifestations of this trauma? These are not necessarily behaviors. These are manifestations of something. Mindy said, I never thought of it that way. Brilliant. Thank you. I know, right? Sometimes I'll be like, oh shit, this is why you guys pay me. Run that up, subscribe. See that? That line alone is worth the yearly subscription. Exactly. It's wealth transfer up as usual. Yes, Tidra. Exactly that. Tiffany says, one of my husband's colleagues, who is a professor at our local university, is on WIC. They have three little girls because he makes so little money. It's disgusting. Yeah. I realized that. I put that in my article, the Let Them Eat the Credit. And I was my first husband, because I'm running through them, baby. I'm looking for number three. My first husband joined the Air Force because we were poor. He was in the College of Aeronautics. I was at Mercy College. My first love was psychology, if you could not tell. So I was in college, he was in college, but we had a fucking 3-year-old and we were teen parents. And it was like, no, we're not doing this. We could not afford it. I was like, you like the College of Aeronautics? Love that for you. Join the Air Force. He did. When I got there, and I was like, okay, so it's all socialism, right? And I was like, huh, this is high class welfare. I was like, please tell me how this is any different than the homies down the block on Section 8, right? Because if you live in base housing, you're getting free housing. So that's government funded housing. That's Section 8. That's, the New York City housing projects and that type of shit. And I'm from the Bronx. So I'm like, okay, you still could qualify for food stamps, because I think at that time I think 1,514, it might have been 1,514 was his base pay. So you're getting a base pay, you're living on base, and if you don't, they supplement you living off base, right? With your BAH, your basic allowance for housing. And I was like, this feels a lot like high class welfare. And that was it for me. I was like, oh, this is high class welfare. Cool. I loved it. It was great. Like, I shopped on base, I got discounts. I enjoyed it. But I was like, oh, this is high class welfare. That is exactly what it is. But it's welfare that comes at the cost of willing to die and or kill other Black and brown people globally. Anti-racism, I mean, racism and anti-Blackness will stop your liberation every single time. But again, it goes back to that first part of the conversation where when you're hungry, you can't think about that. And nothing breeds violence like poverty. Yeah, you could get a bunch of people to go to war and join the military. Notice where they're not recruiting? Guess. No, they're in poor neighborhoods. That's where you get your cops from. That's where you get your military force from. Because nothing has changed, my friends. That's who they sent off on those boats to explore the new world. People that they thought was disposable, and it's always been poor and that color that does not matter. They did not care. Before they ever discovered that Black and brown people existed in the world, they were disposing of white bodies left, right, and fucking frequently. Gotta accept that, right? That is where your work is going to move from out of you could save somebody into holy shit, we need to be saving each other. Good morning, Shirley. How are you? All right. So the reflection for this is ask yourself, who do I imagine when I hear the word poor? Don't fucking play with me. We already know, right? I used to do these in workshops. I used to be like, if I say, Maria, quickly, what did you think of? You're going to have to confront your unconscious bias here, right? We're not playing on this side of the internet. Quickly, if I say Maria, you have a thought. If I say Tyrone, if I say Brad, if I say Chad, you have that thought because our brains are processing centers and they filter things and they sort things out. And they sort things out by the information that has been given. And that information has been given to us by a supremacist culture. And that information becomes our unconscious bias that we operate from our lizard brain. And our lizard brain operates basically when we're in survival mode, and nothing brings you into survival mode like wondering how the fuck you're going to survive. And nothing makes you wonder how the fuck you're going to survive if you can't figure out how you're going to eat. Doesn't make sense now. There we go. So again, take a breath. Do not give me your proper answer. You don't even have to put it in the chat. But I do want you to be honest with yourself if you're going to do this work. When I say poor, who do you see? And that right there is going to be something for you to move through. That is your paradigm shift. Like, oh. And then ask yourself, where did that image of poverty come from? That is how you tackle unconscious bias. That is how you recognize the system feeding it. Take another sip. Okay? You could stay in this work. You can do this. I believe in you. Sit with that for a second, 30 seconds. Let it mull over. And as you are realizing the image that comes up, allow those other things to come up that your unconscious bias has just been storing in your little lizard brain, which is your operating system, right? It's your operating system. I couldn't think of the other word. I'm like, it is. It's your mainframe. It is the operating system. Even when you put new programs into it, there is an operating system. And that is it, friends. That is it. Good morning, Jennifer. Hi, Nicole. Talking point 3, and then we're going to get out of here because you guys are giving me so much of your time. I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you. We are not powerless. Okay. Because one thing I'm going to do is I treat my liberation work like kink work. I am not going to beat your ass and not offer you aftercare. I do not like that. Okay. You drink water, you move your body, check in with yourself. How are you doing? What's going on? And I need you to remember that we are not powerless. I am not speaking so you could leave this place or space that I'm ever in so you could feel more hopeless. I aim for people to feel more empowered when they leave a space with me. Like, that was truth, but damn, that felt good. Okay. So 3, we are not powerless. Say it again. Take a deep breath. You heard all that uncomfortableness. You have to sit with it. You have to dredge up the trauma of your family, why you couldn't go to therapy or ask for help. You had to hear about your unconscious bias and how you participated in these systems. And that fucking sucks. Drink some water. And then take a deep breath again and tell yourself, we are not powerless. Good morning, Susan. Hi, Sarah. We are not powerless. Community is the original safety net. Okay. We don't wait for the state to save us. Fuck the state. What's so interesting is the dichotomy, the duality of the idea, growing up Irish American, was, yeah, no, asking for help is a problem because it was outside help. But you better fucking get it in here. So I think that I love that duality. I would never not go to my family, right? I did a fundraiser for me to take my somatic practitioner training class, which is going well, by the way. I'm excited. I think 3 more months to graduation. But anyway, first person I thought to ask was my sister. I was like, hey, I need a couple grand. Like, and that's my baby sister. Yep. Yep. So though we were not supposed to reach outward, we were taught to definitely reach within. Right. And I think that that is true of ethnic, true communal groups, right? Lean on, but there's some things to say. Obviously, there's no monolithic answer, but I just want to put that in there, that there is some nuance for that space. So again, we are not powerless. Community is the original safety net. We don't wait for the state to save us. We remember what our ancestors did. We feed each other in all of the ways, emotionally, physically, spiritually. We feed each other. So the reframe that I offer here is community is not charity, right? Is it? Do you like that, Martinique? I did pre-write that one. Community is the original safety net. I've often shared with you guys that I grew up in the Bronx. It's one of the most culturally rich and diverse places and spaces in all of the ways, ethnically, religiously, socioeconomically, and we were very much a we all we got kind of people. And growing up in tenements, which are apartment buildings, um, you're going to have a few people that like you're not going to know everybody in the building because who the fuck is trying to know everybody in that building? But if you out of 20 apartments, you're going to know 5 people. And between you 5 people, you will always have what you need. Oh shit, Deidre. My Aunt Deidre was my favorite person. We also grew up in the Bronx. Well, she grew up in Manhattan. But anyway, migrated to the Bronx. You always have. I always said, as I moved up socioeconomically, if I don't have sugar, if I run out of sugar right now, I did not have coffee. I don't know why the fuck I didn't have coffee, but alas, I did not have coffee. I have community though. So I asked my friend Kia, I said, hey, while you're out, because she came and she needed to get something from me. I said, hey, on your way back, could you bring me coffee? That's community, right? When you move up socioeconomically, you become more isolated because why don't you have coffee? Why don't you have sugar? Don't you got a man in the house? The fuck does that mean? Like two people can't be struggling? Yes, I do. We both need coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of idea. Community is absolutely the safety net that is needed. This weekend, I sat down and I love it. I have raised $1,500 in less than 48 hours in the nonprofit, and I've sent out 7 food boxes, right? I go to all these on Instacart. I don't give a fuck where you are. And I'm just like, hey, there you go. I'm not parceling it out on money, dollars. I'm not saying only $50 per family. I am saying how many people you got to feed. There we go. Boom. There we go. Boom. Here's some basic. Here's some staples. Here's some rice. Here's some beans. Here's some chickens, right? Like, let's get people fed. Here's some oatmeal. Stretch that shit. Do the best that you can. I'm hoping I can make tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars with it. Corporate sponsorships and all of that. Um, so I could continuously do that because people should not have to stand in lines, right? That's still more of a shame tactic. Do you know how many people are hungry sitting in your face? Sitting in your face? Also, why are pantries open during the day? That lets you know that even the system idea that is designed to help does not think that poor people work. Like, I can't make it to the pantry because I have to work. The working poor exist. Why are there no fucking after hour pantries? Definitely talking to the churches on that one. Why are you not open in the evenings when people can get off of work and grab food? Because the working fucking poor exist. Anyway, take a breath. So yeah, we feed ourselves. Taylor says it takes so much time to access benefits. Yes, and I fucking hate it. So I am Instacarting groceries, seleniteandsage.com. If you guys could, somebody could type that into the chat, I would appreciate that. Go there, give money. It's tax deductible because that's what nonprofits are supposed to do. Take money and redistribute the care. No, I'm not getting paid from my nonprofit, if that is a question that's on there. I'm not seeking that, at least for the first year of its operation. Um, Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know yet. But not this year, because right now I'm doing enough with my for-profit business. So I'm surviving and I don't need more than what I need. That's another way of living. But anywho, so community is not charity. Community is a strategy. Mutual aid is not helping the needy. Mutual aid is how we stay alive. We cannot do this without each other, guys. We cannot. Jennifer says, are the groceries shipped nationwide or just in your local area? Wherever Instacart delivers. If Instacart delivers to you, you can get food. Here's what I do. I go on my computer. I go to the jot form that they fill out. You got a family of 6. Do you have any allergies or anything like that? Love that. Boom, 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 boom. There's some basic staples, rice, dried beans, oatmeal, if they can have that, you know what I'm saying? Meat. Some people are veg, some people no pork that I've done, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that looks like. Somebody had a soft food diet. I don't give a fuck. Put it in there. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to send it. And if Instacart delivers to you, you can get food. I do not need a huge explanation. It's the same thing that I do with the scholarships here. I'm going to trust you with your money. You tell me you can't afford $10 a month? Okay. What am I do? Like, I don't need to see your bills. $10 a month can make or break somebody. I recognize that. Somebody messaged me and like, when they unsubscribed last week and they were like, I love supporting you. But, I just lost my job and I'm living off credit. I was like, oh, what a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to support you. Here's a year free. It's not taking anything from me. It just is what the fuck it is. We're all surviving at different levels. We are all surviving. And the more that we recognize that, I'm not a fucking capitalist. I am surviving capitalism. I shared in my last article, I live off a credit card. Baby, everything, everything. And I don't care. It is the cost of poverty. And I'm going to have some fucking joy. I don't know. I don't know. My cousin jokes with me. She's like, but what about the interest rate? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what they are. I don't care. You know what I like? To have what I want. That's it. I don't care. And you got to pay the cost to be the boss, friends. Okay. So, again, if the state will not feed the people, because we already discovered that they're not feeding the people, they are subsidizing corporations that refuse to pay you an actual living wage, the people will feed the people, right? That was one of the main cruxes of any Black liberationist organization. Thank you, Shirley. I appreciate that. The Black Panther 10 point, have y'all heard of it? We'll put it in here. Feed the people. Feed the people. You got WIC. They're definitely gutting this shit, right? You got WIC, free breakfast, lawyers, ambulances, because the Black Panthers was like, we can't do shit when people are hungry. We're going to feed the people. We're going to feed the kids. The fuck are y'all doing? We're going to feed the people. All of those things. What happened was the government seen that shit working and took over and made them a terrorist organization. So please believe they want to gut anything and everything that Black people created for equity because they want their monarchy. They love and live off of your serfdom, our enslavement, and the erasure of Indigenous people across all lands. We're all Indigenous to somewhere. And colonization has disrupted that indigeneity globally. It's the same thing over and over again, friends. All right. So this is not new to us. We come from gardens, kitchens, shared pots, and come sit at this table. We have survived every version of empire through each other. So if you are sitting here today, October 27th, 2025, you are not new. White people swear to God, y'all are new every generation. Not me. I'm not. Yes, the fuck you are. And there's something beautiful about that. I am every bit of my ancestors. And I fucking love that on both sides. I am their wildest manifestation, and I exist in a time that they didn't even think they would. You know, I embrace being fat. My people survived famine, forced famine. You can't tell me shit. My Irish ancestors are like, yes, baby. Yes, eat that. Yummy. Love that for you. Because they starved to death, and I'm still here. My African ancestors are like, you go, girl, talk that shit. Because they died. They were murdered for speaking. And look at me, all free and shit, talking. As the first generation of free Black people in the United States of America. Yes, I'm 46 years old, and I am of the first generation of born free Black people. I am of the first generation of Black people born in this country with full United States citizens' rights. Sit with that. So, yes. And I am still here. And so are you. So you just need to touch that, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to remember that we are still here. We are still here. We are still in this together. We are doing the work to dismantle the barriers in between us, right? Anti-racism work, pro-humanity work, anti-oppression work. It's not about you saving anybody. You can't save yourselves. White people, you ain't saving shit. What you are doing, what we are all doing collectively, is dismantling the barriers between us. The barriers that were created by a system that demands isolation and separation. And we are dismantling those barriers so we can get into solidarity and say, fuck the system. Okay? Lisa says Irish ancestors saying yes, rubbing from the hearts. Oh, thank you for the hearts because they're happening at the same time. From the English, are we last? We got you. We'll keep you fat as partridge. Yes, I love that. Correct. And I'm going to enjoy being fat when I come from people that were starved, when I come from people that were shackled and enslaved and never meant to be here. I love that for me. I love that for them. I love to be a representative of both of them. It's beautiful here. So again, 3 points. Let's wrap it up. You guys are over time with me. And God, I fucking love how you sit with me. I think you guys are amazing. All right. So 3 talking points. 1, snap cuts are not administrative. They are strategic. Let's think about what's coming down the pipeline. You should be preparing, not panicking. What is going on? What do we need to do? What do we think are the next steps? Please release shock and awe. White people, I can't take no more shock and awe. No, we are not at shock and awe. Stop talking if you are at shock and awe. Don't say that. hold that, share that with other white people who are in shock and awe. We are moving to the next phases, okay? We are in preparation mode. We are in awareness and reckoning, right? You are aware that there are systemic issues. We are reckoning that what's happening with these systemic issues, and we are seeking the next space. Okay? I can't do the shock and awe with you, fam. Can't do it. Can't. I'm fucking tired. Can't do it. Lisa says, thank you so much, Desiree, for the empowerment and encouragement. Oh, thank you. No problem. Two, this comes directly from the welfare queen propaganda. Don't you never, ever forget that racism and anti-Blackness will stop your liberation every single time. Every single time, every single time, every single time. It keeps you distracted enough to not notice the noose around your neck because your foot is on mine. Got to stop that, okay? Take that off, get up off me. That's how we're going to work together. 3, and super important, remember, we are not powerless. Community is the original safety net. That is vehemently important. We are not powerless, right? Stop looking for them to do things. They've never done things. They've never done things to benefit the people. They've never done things to benefit the people. And white body people or anybody else who believes that, but specifically white body people, if you believe that they have, you have bought the bullshit lie, hook, line, and sinker, and I need you to sit with that grief. That's going to be your work this week, to sit with the grief of they've never helped people. Ever did they help people. And also, if you believe that they help people, it is helping people in the way like if I punch you in your face and then I turn around and get you an ice pack and be like, here you go. Your lip's bleeding. And then I want you to be thankful. If you didn't punch me in my face, my lip wouldn't be busted and I wouldn't need this fucking ice pack. So I'm not thankful for the ice pack. And you're lucky I'm not punching you back in your face. See that? I like to make it plain. There we go. So, hands together. Move your body because that was intense, right? Like get that out, all that tension, all that, oh my gosh, get that out of there. Get that out of there. Drink some water, deep breaths, move your body, right? It's integrative work. It's somatic work. It's necessary, right? And here, we're going to close off. We do not do this work alone. We return to community the way we return to breathing. We make sure nobody goes hungry. Not on our watch, not in our neighborhoods, not now, and not ever. That is how we're going to keep that together, right? So I'm going to give you some invitations to do things. You could start a neighborhood text chain, right? Hey, what's going on? See who needs what in the space. In your immediate area, you will feel so much more empowered. And again, inner world, outer world. Who can you feed on your block? On your block. Who needs a car ride on their block? People are going to have cars repossessed. There's going to be a lot of things coming down the pipeline. A lot of things. There's going to be crime. There's going to be petty crime. How do you arm crime? Because again, nothing breeds poverty like violence. And I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat. And if that means stick you up to eat, that's what's going to happen. Like, stop. No more shock and awe. You finna get robbed. I said this like 6, 7 years ago. I said, robbing season is coming. Robbing season is coming. I don't understand how y'all don't see it, but I'm trying to tell you. And here we are. We are now at robbing season. Leave your doors unlocked. Not your house, but your car. Save yourself the fucking car window. Don't leave change in there, or leave a little box of food in there. Please take this and leave my window alone. I don't. Door is open. Grab food. Like, yeah, if you see someone stealing groceries, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. They're getting their money back that they didn't pay for. Rob them. Rob the stores, not the people. Not the people. Cook in bulk and share your plates, right? Food stable things. There's always somebody. There's always somebody that could eat. And it doesn't even matter. It could be that you as a parent are sharing that with another person. My homegirl used to pick up my kids and her husband used to pick up the kids because she was working late. So you know what I would do? When they would drop my kids off, I would have a dinner plate for her husband. See what happens when you're not weird and don't have ownership? I was not sleeping with her husband. I was feeding him. He was picking up my kid. That's so simple, right? Well, quid pro quo. Then it switched and the kids were coming up and being in my house. So my kids they were all eating and then I would send plates home. and vice versa. So it doesn't have to be. The idea I really want you guys to get out of is you are not helping the poor. You are the poor. Who the fuck are you comparing your poverty to? I compare mine to billionaires. I assure you I'm the poor. Am I better off than the person that don't got $50 in their account? Absolutely. Yeah. But I am much closer to being the guy with $50 than I am the guy with 50 billion. Okay? So we are the poor. We are the poor. You are not helping the poor. You are redistributing care. Okay? We are taking care of each other. You ain't helping shit because you are poor. I don't know. Get that shit out your head. You are poor. You are poor. I don't give a fuck if you have a 401k, you're middle management. You are one job away from that. You are one AI could do what the fuck you do, and you are poor. You are poor. So you are not helping the poor because you can't help yourself from becoming the idea of what you think poor is. You are redistributing care. You are taking care of people, yourself, others. That is what's happening. Hi, Dina. Okay, so cook in bulk and share plates, start a neighborhood text change, support your local community fridge if there's one. Unfortunately, I know Atlanta Free Fridge is closed here, but there may be some in your area. Look around, find these things. Findhelp.org is amazing. If somebody could put that in the chat, that would be dope and appreciated. Literally, find help dot, I think it's .org. Find help dot maybe .com. Nope, it is .org. Findhelp.org. Thank you, Shirley. Appreciate it. Any state, all states, put your zip code in. They have all kinds of things, all kinds of assistance. Amazing resource. All right. And then ask people what they need. Tell somebody, hey, what you need? You need something? Like, that is like a New York City proverb. Again, I'm from the Bronx. I'll go to the store. Y'all need something? It's just, that was one of my biggest pet peeves in my marriage. I swear to Christ. Like, my husband would get up and he would go to the store and, like, let's say I was in the cottage and he'd come back. And I'm like, why the fuck you didn't tell me to go to the store? Now, in his defense, if I needed something, he would absolutely get back up, no huffing, no puffing, or whatever. But I'm like, that is a New York City proverb. If you are leaving the block and you're going to the bodega, you're like, yo, I'm going to the store. Do you need something? And the person will tell you, and if they got the money, they got it. If they don't, they don't. Either way, you're coming back with what they need. You know why? Because they're also not going to give you a big-ass laundry list. They're going to be like, yeah, look, let me get $1 worth of salami, or let me get a sandwich, give me your butter roll and coffee. It's going to be something simple. And that it'll be reciprocated another time around. Or if they give you $20, they know they're not getting no change. That's how that works. Ask people what they need, friends. Ask people what they need. That's it. I am going to let you guys go. You guys have sat with me. I think you're amazing. You are wonderful. The replay, again, this is not paywalled on Mondays. So I try to go really deep, really heavy. But please become a paid subscriber because I am also surviving capitalism. And if you can donate, the seleninesage.com, if you go there. And also, do not feel like you have to do it on your own. Bring that shit to HR and be like, donate to this here. We take corporate donations. We like money. So we could redistribute the money and the care for people. Talk to your people. If you are in charge of a board, be like, hey, I found a nonprofit I would like to support. This aligns with my ethics. This feels attuned to what I am doing. It doesn't have to just be on you. Place the onus on these companies that you guys work for. Who do I need to talk to about donations? Who do I need to talk to about grants? It doesn't just have to be you. Leverage, right? A while ago, I talked about white privilege versus white leverage. Leverage that shit. Leverage it. Leverage it. Leverage it. They're listening to you. Great. You don't have the money. Understandable. You're feeling a little bit of fear, right? I could read the fear greed index. You're scared. You know what? I don't want to donate because right now shit is getting hairy. Hey, I got you. We're all surviving capitalism. You know who's not? That board, that company that you work for, that you currently have a job with. Pressure them. Pressure. Apply pressure and redistribute care. All right. That's it. I'm going to have my coffee. I'm going to finish this off. And I'm going to be sending out more food boxes. So stay tuned. I've been posting updates on my notes. And I'm excited. And I love that I get to do this work that I love. And thank you guys for making that possible. I love you. I will see you again on Wednesday. Bye. Did it end?